So the thing we're talking about today is needle exchange programs. Now, needle exchange programs have to do with the transmission of HIV and AIDS. So before we even talk about the programs and like what they do and how they work and everything, let me educate you just a little bit on how HIV and AIDS is transmitted. Okay, so the main ways HIV and AIDS is transmitted is through sexual contact, blood transfusion, occupational exposure, pregnancy and childbirth, and then injection drug use. Now, all of these means of transmission involve some type of exchange of bodily fluids. And in case you were curious, by bodily fluids, I mean blood, semen, breast milk, etc., like all of those type of things. Alright, so now that we're all educated, let me tell you about these programs. Needle exchange programs were created by HIV and AIDS prevention activists. They were trying to help prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS. So what these programs do is that they provide clean needles and supplies to injection drug users in exchange for their dirty used ones. But that's not the only thing these programs do. They also provide help for their customers, such as like counseling and support groups where they can be around others who are also struggling with like addiction and things like that. I know most of you are probably thinking that this either promotes injection drug use or it probably hasn't even affected the number of cases of HIV and AIDS that come from injection drug users. See, that's exactly what I thought when I first heard of these programs. But the more I learned and the more like I educated myself on like what these programs do and how they affect others and like the statistics of it all, I really realized like how wrong I was. So now that we know what these programs do, let's get to the good stuff. First of all, before we get into all of the facts and information I'm going to give you, I just want to let you know that basically all of the information I'm using in this video is from multiple sources such as AIDSAction.org, Tucson Weekly Magazine, Time Magazine for the U.S., CDC.gov, Harm Reduction Services, and then AIDS.gov as well. Alright, so in the early 2000s, out of all of the HIV and AIDS reported cases, about 25% of them were from injection drug users. Now, that's 1/4 of all of the cases in the U.S. So roughly number-wise, that's about 250,000 people. But then, because these programs have become more abundant in the U.S., the percentage has been able to drop all the way to 9% in 2012. See, that big of a percentage drop is absolutely incredible. Alright, now let's think cost-wise of these programs. So these programs cost about $169,000 a year. That's with an approximation of 100 clients per day. Now that may seem like a lot of money, but then if you think about the lifetime coverage of treating a person with HIV and AIDS, that's just a bit over $200,000 a year. Now, these programs represent an approximate saving of closer to 95% per life. As I mentioned earlier, these programs also provide help to those addicted wanting to become clean. These exchange programs provide referrals to agencies and programs that help those that are addicted. Here in Tucson, for example, these exchange programs provide referrals to COPE, which is a community-oriented organization that focuses on the recovery of those with mental health issues and substance abuse. They also provide a referral to SAAF, or SAF, which is the Southern Arizona AIDS Foundation. And they are really focused on the prevention of HIV and AIDS, and then if those addicted become infected with HIV or AIDS, then they take extra precautionary steps to help them and things like that. So these programs are really trying to not just prevent the spread of HIV and AIDS, but they're also really trying to help those that are addicted become clean once again, which is awesome. So now that we've been through those few facts that I gave you, I really think that these programs are awesome, and I'm 100% for them now. In the closing of this video, I want to provide a piece of an article that I had read. Dr. David C. Lewis had said, "Providing clean needles and syringes to intravenous drug users does not say that we condone their behavior. It says that we care about them, and we want them and their partners to stay healthy as a first step in becoming a productive member of society again." I think this statement is extremely true. We do care. That's why we have these programs, and that's why we want them to be healthy and not become infected with HIV and AIDS, because we don't want that number to grow bigger. We want that number to grow smaller. And as Obama had stated in the State of the Union address, We are on our way to an AIDS-free generation. And I personally think that with the help of these programs, we can get there faster than we had dreamed.